Today we're going to be talking about what I love and what I hate about living in Spring, Texas. So let's jump right in. Hi y'all, my name is Jordan 𝗛𝗟𝗡, broker, owner of 𝗡𝗅𝗡𝗚. Here at 𝗡𝗅𝗡𝗚, our goal isn't just to be your realtor, it's to be your resource. So I have a little bit of a cheat sheet behind the camera so I don't forget all the good stuff I want to share with you. So first we're going to start with the love and then the hate, and I'll probably wrap it up with a couple more loves that come to my mind, I guess. So things that I love how close we are to everything. I really feel like that we're at the center of everything here in Spring. We are only 20 minutes from the Woodlands. So technically the Woodlands is a master plan community in Spring. So I am 20 minutes south. Maybe I'm gonna ping pong here. Something that I have a love-hate relationship with about Spring is how big it is. It is huge. There are 9 different zip codes and it just goes miles for miles. So east to west is quite large, and even north to south. I feel like it's a bigger rectangle going this way though. And we're only about 35 minutes from Houston, depending on traffic. This one's a little silly, but I feel like I'm at the center and I'm sandwiched by at least 7 different targets. So if there's something I'm looking for from Chip and Joanna's line and I can only find 3 and I need a 4th, I can definitely find the 4th one super easy. Same thing goes with TJ Maxx and Marshalls. There are 2 different malls I'm pretty darn close to. I have Willowbrook Mall and I have the Mall of the Woodlands, so the Woodlands Mall. There's also an outlet mall not too far from us, the Cypress Outlet Mall. It is in Cypress. It's called the Houston Premium Outlets, and that is about 30 minutes away. So I really do feel like we're in the center of everything. Hop, skip, and a jump. The only thing I feel like we're not close to is crime. So I don't feel like there is a ton of crime around here. Definitely not, what's the word? Not hard crime, but it's just like this petty crime of someone left their car unlocked and something might get taken out of it. I do see that pop up once a week or once a month, just depending on the time of year. And there are so many amazing restaurants within 10 to 20 minutes depending on where you live. So I'm in the Klein portion of Spring. There is the Spring ISD portion, and that's the lowest rated school in Spring, so a lot of people stay away from that school district. But you have the Klein ISD portion, which is where I live, and then in the Woodlands you have the Conroe ISD portion, and I believe those are the only school districts in Klein: Spring, Klein, and Conroe. But tons of different restaurants. So we have the Vintage, we have Market Street and Hughes Landing, we have the Grand Parkway Marketplace, and then there are just restaurants scattered all throughout the city. So that's really cool. I personally think there is less crime, and you can look at statistics, but I think there's less crime in the north portion and the central portion of Spring. The southwest corner, I believe, has a little bit more, and the very south portion maybe has a little bit. And there are amazing schools here. So like I mentioned, you have Klein ISD and Conroe ISD and Spring ISD. And you have in the Conroe and Klein areas, you have really good public schools and award-winning, really sought-after schools. But you also have a ton of private schools. So the Woodlands has a bulk of the private schools, but they are pretty much in every little hub. So tons of private school options. Most of them are Christian based, but there are other options as well. And then there are a lot of master plan communities here, not as many as in Conroe. Conroe has a lot, but I meant to say Cypress and Katy. Katy and Cypress have the most amount of master plan communities. I feel the Klein area is a very established area of Spring, and then you do have like the newer portion, which would be, I call it New Spring, and so that's along Grand Parkway 99. You have the Imperial Oaks area, which Imperial Oaks itself is a very established neighborhood in the last 20-ish years, but then you have the Meadows at Imperial Oaks and the Falls at Imperial Oaks, and I think there's even a gated section over there. You have the Legend, what is it called? It's not called the Legends. Canyon Gate at the Legend, something like that. It's right next to these communities I just mentioned. You have Woodson's Reserve, Harmony, Bender's Landing, that's on the south portion. Those all have A-rated schools, so tons of different areas. And then you have the Woodlands, so Oak Ridge as well, and Shenandoah. All of these suburbs and cities kind of bump up to one another, and they're all here in the Spring area. So as you get farther out from Klein, you do have more master plan community options. I feel like my neighborhood is a master plan community, but that term wasn't really around when it started to be established. And so we have the sidewalks and the tennis courts and the playgrounds, and I have the on-site elementary school and middle school and the swimming pool and I think I said fitness center already, but I'm technically not a master plan community. But then you go across the street to 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗏 Farms, and it's identical in all of those things. They have an equestrian center though, and they do have the golf course, but technically that's master plan community and we're not. So it had lots of developers, and so it depends how people define and throw around that term. But in the MLS, in our database, technically where I live is not a master plan community. But so this Champion Forest, Memorial Northwest area, you have Spring Creek Oaks and Spring Creek Forest and Windrose. So many amazing neighborhoods in Spring, so that's something I really love about it. You have almost unlimited amounts of church options, so that's really neat. In Spring, I feel like you have tons of opportunities. You're really close to the hub of the Woodlands, and which is technically Spring, but then you're not too far from Houston. There are some There are some park and ride options out of the Woodlands, but Spring itself does not have public transportation. We do have amazing airports that are 25 to 30 minutes away. So I did 20 to 25. I typically leave really early in the morning or really late at night, so I don't run into traffic when I'm traveling through the airports. But I really do love where I live. So let me get into the hate. Some of the pockets aren't as nice as others, so that Spring ISD area technically isn't as nice, or in my opinion isn't as nice. It just depends how you define nice and who you are and what your expectations are and what your preferences are. And I would assume most people associate nice and not nice with crime, and so then I point my finger at crime ratings and crime rates, and so where the rates are higher, then those are the areas I'm categorizing as not as nice. But definitely, I know everyone has a different viewpoint, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm trying to appeal to the masses with some of these generalizations, so bear with me here. But that's definitely one of the things that I wrote down, was some pockets aren't as nice as others. In general, Spring, Texas is warm quite often, so you have humidity. There are mosquito problems every once in a while, so that would be something that's quite negative. Even though you have really good restaurant options, I'm super picky, so I feel like there aren't enough restaurant options in the Klein area, but there's definitely a ton of options. I just personally eat out too much, therefore I get sick of restaurant food. But there aren't a ton of healthy food options, so that definitely could be something negative. And I like the Woodlands Mall over Willowbrook Mall, so I wish it would be nice if there is a second really nice mall. But there really isn't a ton to hate about here. There are just some pockets that aren't as nice as others. I really think that's like the main thing. You don't have as many A-rated schools in the Klein portion of Spring, so I do wish that was a little bit different. And Spring, the Klein portion is technically in Harris County, and so it depends what your preferences are, but a lot of people prefer Montgomery County over Harris County, so I definitely would say that's a negative. It depends what direction you politically lean, and Harris County is less conservative than Montgomery County, so that could be a reason why you don't like Harris County. I've lived here forever, my family's lived here forever, I've never had any issues. I just know that during the lockdown, Montgomery County was not strict in the beginning, and Harris County was very strict, and Montgomery County has been more lenient across the board, in my opinion, and lots of other people's opinions. I feel like there's less to vote on outside of my Spring portion, so tons of stuff to vote on here, always things popping up. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I hate about where I live. It would be nice if there were more sidewalks. Where I live, I don't have any sidewalks, and a lot of these more established neighborhoods don't have sidewalks, so that's something to keep your eye on. One thing I do love is the tax rates are really healthy tax rates, so you have very low tax rates in the Spring area. In Cypress and Katy, you have very high tax rates in these newer portions, but since it's established here, it's built out, and your tax rates are really low in my opinion. And trying to think if there's anything else I love or hate about where I live. The traffic is picking up like crazy. Right this second, it's not as bad as sometimes, and maybe it's just because I'm not on the road as other times of the year, but I had seen the traffic pretty bad over the last few months and way worse than ever before, to the point where you just want to stay home on the weekends. And I don't like traveling in traffic, like thick traffic, rush hour. I try to stay home during rush hour, that like 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. You won't really see me running around town because I do hate traffic. And so that's one thing I technically hate, but I know it doesn't compare to other metropolises that are a lot more condensed. So one thing I probably have a love-hate relationship with is how spread out it is here. So I think I like it more than I dislike it, but it is definitely spread out. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that's a good thing. But yeah, overall, I really love living here. I think the coolest thing about living here is your cost of living is really low. You can save more money in comparison to some places, and then you can travel the world. So that's definitely my goal in life, is to save money and to travel and experience the world, because I think that's, you know, keeps us young and healthy, and we get to live longer. So again, my name is 𝗔𝗓𝗟𝗔𝗥, broker, owner of 𝗏&Co. And I say again, but I'm pretty sure I did not tell y'all who I am, but I'm a real estate agent here in the Houston suburbs. And at 𝗏&Co, our goal really is to not just to be your realtor, but to be your resource. And in a couple seconds, you're gonna see a couple videos pop up over here. Please check those out. But down below is where I really want you to look. So that's going to be our ebooks, our relocation guides, our search website. Hope y'all sign up. I hope you reach out to me. There's a link to schedule a call. And I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. And it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.